one. So I'm Tanis Leonhardi. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi, and I'm filming this Monday, 11 March 2024. And some people are really interested in this stuff, and especially if you're coming in off the title. So we're gonna, so you don't get depressed by what my mom decided to keep or anything like that. We're gonna try and like ease into the topic. So my mom, during the 2004 Summer Olympic Games in Athens, Greece, saved a bunch of newspapers. And my sister had kind of done it with like, there'd be like, there was a Titanic exhibit we went to at some point in time. I don't remember if it was before this or not. I feel like it was, and even if it wasn't, she collected like vintage newspapers about the sinking of the Titanic and stuff like that. And so this was one where my mom kind of was like, we had the Seattle Times subscription, and so my mom, they did a very elaborate coverage for the 2004 Summer Olympic Games, and like themed, and like I'll show you. But so my mom decided to keep newspapers, and later I kept newspapers for the 2008 presidential election and 2009 inauguration. So in the United States of America, at least currently, the president is inaugurated the calendar year after they're elected. So if they're elected and I know that not because I read it online, but because I've attended a presidential inauguration in person back in 2009. I committed to that before the president was elected. And so the person, that it was a person with some Native American blood versus someone with no Native American blood. And of course, you know, instead of choosing a historic first in terms of like healing and moving forward and racial progress for the original peoples, the Native Americans, who chose somebody that kind of put us backwards in terms of racial progress, right? Was somebody was elected who was entirely of foreign-born ancestral origins instead of the person who was part Native American. So that was like super depressing, but I still went. But I saved newspapers from that. I still have some somewhere in, I think, this drawers, possibly. I think. Anyway, so my sister, it was the Titanic. My mom, it was 2004 Summer Olympic Games, and for me, 2008 presidential election / 2009 presidential inauguration. But I was there at the 2009 presidential inauguration, so I lost that, possibly. Okay, and I also saved like weather stuff for a little while. But this is like event as opposed to like theme. Newspaper saving. And so that's a little bit about that. And people wanted follow-up for the 2024 Pac-12 Men's Swimming Championships of what it's like being married to two Olympians competing at the same competition. So Hungary, depending on my handler group for an Olympic Games, which currently is indefinite, it was Italy I think, or up to 2020 Summer Olympic Games for me, Tanis Leonhardi, and is currently indefinitely joined handler countries for me of Hungary and France. So Hungary, on the Hungarian channels I follow, changed the typeface of some of the names on the channel to match the people who sat in front of me at my first ever finals session at a swimming competition, like big deal swimming competition. So the person in front of me had like a custom face on their Apple device, I think it was, and the typeface that they changed the names to on their channel, and I think it's gone back. But right, to show, okay, this man is yours, Hubert Coast is yours, right? This is confirmation from your handler country of Hungary. And then from France, what they did was the people who sat in front of me and kind of like all around me, it was like a group, or not like it was a group, and one of the guys, so the guy who stands up in my video of John Heafy from 9 March 2024 with the time trial with a 51.99 seconds, the person who stands up, he earlier, I think it was before the start of the final session, like kind of like pulled out his phone and then looked around and did what's called an espionage check, because Léon Marchand is French, and he was like, "Is Leonhardi on the pool deck?" Like, he actually said that out loud, and I was like, that is the first time in my life I have ever heard one of my husbands called by his proper last name in my physical presence. And I just kind of like looked at the person. I was like, you know, the person he got the name Leonhardi from is sitting right here, right? His wife. But yeah, so they did an espionage check, and so that one came about from my Leon Marchand. So Leon, first name, middle name Marchand, last name Leonhardi, and he got Leonhardi from me. Leonhardi is my surname. But so that's what a little bit of what they're both Olympians, if I'm recalling correctly. Pre-2024 when I'm filming this. But so sometimes if the wife of the Olympian and the Olympian are both struggling, the handler countries can intervene for confirmation from both. Right? They both wanted me where I sat because they could see me with their peripheral vision during the interviews. Right? So I was there for moral support. It was the first time I got to support my husband's soulmates in person in the finals session at a big deal competition. So that was the 2024 Pac-12 Men's Swimming Championships. And then the first big of having one of my husband's, one of my soulmates, write their name used in front of me, like directed to me. Espionage check is spoken to to check if anybody from Team Leon is there, right? So they're speaking to that person. So they were speaking to me. Is Leonhardi on the pool deck, or is Leonhardi on the deck? Yeah, I'm sitting right here. But you're not talking about me. You're talking about my husband. So I didn't say anything. Okay, so there's that buffer around the Olympic Games. So this was 2004, so these are some of the ones my mom saved. So I remember this headline: for 19 days in August, the Summer Olympics returns to his birthplace in Greece. And I was like, how privileged was I born 26 February in Bergen, Norway? I have not returned to my birthplace in my lifetime. I was born 26 February. I was like, this is a competition defined in 0 parts in terms of me, but mom is trying to make up for that because the headline is about a sister revelry, not rivalry, revelry, which is supposed to be like the harmony of 2 siblings. And I have an older sister, so my mom was like, it's like Lindsay and Tanis. I'm the younger, she, her, hers of Seattle. My sister is the elder, she, her, hers of Seattle, so we're sister. So I'm guessing she saved this one because of that. So these were all her picks. I actually provided 0 feedback. They were entirely hers. And so I'm attempting to preserve here a little bit about the legacy of my mom. Then there's this one. I even had like the fronds around the top on sports. My husband, Leon Marchand, is faster than this 400 individual medley world record time from 2004. At least that's what the spectators in the stands told me on Saturday, kind of thing. Okay, I liked this one. So I didn't. I like this one. It's Ian Thorpe. Yes, the torpedo. And now everybody, says everybody's like a nuclear submarine, a torpedo and stuff. And I was like, no, that all started with Ian Thorpe, the torpedo. Okay. I started competing in swimming in the 1990s. It started with Ian Thorpe. Okay. But I remember seeing this and being like, is the torpedo gonna be there? All I want is Ian Thorpe and Liesl Jones. And why are they talking about Americans? It's not like they're Native Americans. I thought this coverage was a little bit of a slap on the face to me personally. I was just like, what about Native Americans? Right? Why are we writing about people of foreign, since they're all foreigners, ancestral origins wise, why not include torpedo and Liesl Jones in the papers? So this stuff kind of pissed me off. This one. Oh, look, it's close to my name. There's a Leonard instead of a Leonhardi, and then it talks about the opening ceremonies of the Athens Olympic Games. 2004 edition. 80, because they go back a ways. My sister likes France, but it was not, she didn't ever like France when we were growing up. It it wasn't until she was like preteens that she actually started liking France. She adored Greece before then. She was like head over heels in love with Greece and the Olympic Games and stuff. And yeah, and then she kind of picked up on France later, and I think it's because the modern Olympic Games were brought back because of France, or supposedly, or something like that. And so, but it's France actually, while she went to cooking school there and really likes French things, or did for a while, now it's on to other things. kind of like Utah, in Australia, and Southern California, and Italy, and stuff like that. Yeah. She went through a France phase that was a longer France phase. But no, definitely not. It didn't come around really until like, what, 10, 11, 12 for her. And, you know, figures that I'm the one that, go figure, I'm the one that has a French husband. At least I know what an espionage check is. Right? That comes from my work in nuclear physics. Shockwave physics. Okay, and then U.S. rowers. So University of Washington is my mom's alma mater, so you gotta keep something from the local, something relevant, because the rest of it, I was just like, I had no idea why she saved a Michael Phelps thing. My sister was in love with like the East Coast. I personally have not been ever, and so it felt like in her saving these, I was like, is Michael Phelps my sister's soulmate? Because my mom loved Michael Phelps, my sister loved Michael Phelps, and I was just like, I just want Ian Thorpe and Liesl Jones. Okay. So, as for why these were saved, I provided my best guess. Alright, for this one, my sister and I, the sister, I have no idea why Michael Phelps thing was saved. Ian Thorpe, maybe mom knew I liked him. I had a crush on him. Maybe. I did. Okay. And then, and then the University of Washington rowers. It's her alma mater. That's where my mom graduated from for her bachelor's degree. So that's why my mama saved. Or DNR all times. And this is all the Seattle Times. And I thought it was, they did big deal, like headlines, right? There was themed headlines. And it was, let's see, is this one? 5 pages of Olympics coverage inside, right? This is like, and it was in color. Right? The pictures were in color. At least on the front page. I think on the inside it's not. No, it was. Oh, he was there. All I wanted was Ian Thorpe and Liesl Jones. I should, like, you know, take this to the grave. Like him and I. Will we be a cute couple? I think so. Oh my god, I had such a crush on this guy. Still do. He's a hottie. Okay. And I remember him at these. I remember him at the Summer Olympic Games, and I just remember being like, God, if there's one person who like embodies what it, like, you know, a god would look like. Well, at that point in time, I thought it was Ian Thorpe, and then I saw Leon Marchand, and like I felt him enter the building. I was like, hey, you know, somebody's your soulmate or your husband. I'm like, you can actually feel them enter the building because it's like a calm comes over the body. And I was just like, I guess this competition, the person with the god feel for this female is Leon Marchand. For the 2024 Pac-12 Men's Swimming Championships on Saturday, 9 March 2024 final session. That session, it came from Leon Marchand. And I was like, oh, that feel means somebody like, oh, entered the building. I'm like, Huber Coast is already here, so it's going to be somebody else this time, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, whipped when. That kind of feeling happens. Okay. So, and like, not like whipped as in like actually whipped with a whip, but like, you know, like, yeah. Somebody else can control me, kind of thing. So there we go. Those are the 2024 Summer Olympic Games newspapers my mom saved. And she's thrown stuff out. So I was like, I'm going to preserve her legacy here in the video form. If nothing else, I might be able to find space for this summer. I might not, but there we go. It's at least in video somewhere. And Ian Thorpe, the cutie.